Welcome. My name is George Pearson and I run the How To Gurus channel here on YouTube. Most of the videos in my channel are short demonstrations of the different tools and techniques you'll find in various software programs. Right now I have several hundred of these quick videos available on YouTube. This video though is different. This is part of a new series of longer demonstrations that I'm doing to show you how to complete complex projects from start to finish using a variety of techniques and tools. All of the images I use in these projects are in the public domain, and I've included a link to the pictures in the video description in case you want to work along using the same images. Okay, let's move on to the project. In this Photoshop effects project, we're going to be looking at a couple of different ways of doing a cartoony effect. Left side here, kind of more of a traditional cartoon drawing kind of a thing. And the right side, more of a painterly graphic novel style cartoon. Both of these make use of the poster edges and posterization effects. That's why we're doing these together. Totally different looks, but using some of the same tools to achieve those looks. Okay, we'll start over here on the tiger. Let me just bring up the file for that one. And let's see. Right there we go. So we can take a look at what we have in here. I'll just talk you through this, and then we'll go ahead and do this from scratch. We start off with an actual picture of a tiger down here. Let me just hide some of this stuff. There we go. And let's see our tiger. So we start off with an actual tiger picture, just like that. We then crop in on that tiger, and we apply some basic posterization effects in here. Now this level is good for the eyes, but there's not enough posterization for anything else. So we do that a second time, and that gives us this effect. Much better posterization in here, but the eyes kind of block up. So we'll be copying the eyes from the first version, which are better, and pasting those on top of the second version, bringing the eyes back again. And they'll be putting those little highlights as well. Along with that, this has some layer effects in here, a stroke and a drop shadow layer effect. And then we simply drop in a background in behind that with a real thick border. Now the thick border here is made by using a layer style with a real thick stroke on it and a little bit of an inner shadow. So it's just fairly straightforward stuff to create this look. Now this last little bit here, with the stroke where it's showing through these kind of bright highlighted colors or enhanced colors from the background, we're going to be using a blending mode on that stroke to give us that effect. Okay, let's go ahead now and we will see how this is done. I'm going to make a new file here. First, let me just come down here. I'm going to copy everything here. Let's just do select all, edit, copy. What that does is it simply sets this size as the new size if we make a new file. This is one way to do that. So I'll go up here now to File, New. It's going to automatically give me the same size as what I just put on the clipboard there. Okay, then we can do an Edit, Paste, and there's our tiger. We'll keep this background up here for reference, and I can deselect that. We don't need that any longer. So first thing we want to do, what I always do, is I make a copy of my image layer. We don't really need to have that white on there, but I'll leave it in. That's just because it's a brand new file. Let's make a copy of this. Just drag the image down onto our new layer button, giving us a copy, and then I protect that layer. That's just a safety. Just in case, I can always go back to that layer if I happen to mess things up. Now we're going to do a selection around this tiger. We want just the face. And since we're doing a cartoon selection, it can be a little bit rough. That's okay. I want to get kind of a feeling of the fur, so we'll do some sawtooth style edges on this. Let's just bring them up a bit here. There we go. And I'll be using the polygonal lasso tool for this, and I'll start right at the top of the head. And I'll just do just a little bit of stair-stepping stuff like that. Now when you're using the polygonal lasso tool, don't click too quickly. You'll see I'm just, I'm taking a breath or breather here between each one of my clicks. If you click too quickly with this tool, it's going to collapse the selection down and try to make a closed selection. If you're not ready for that, you'll have to go back in and add to your selection or do something else to it. I'm going to do a little bit of an edge right there just for the fun of it. Then I'll just come down and then do a bit of this sawtooth right up in there. And I'll go smooth down through here, then a little more of the zigzag stuff along the bottom edge. And again, making sure that I don't click too quickly on this and collapse my selection, which would really mess things up. I'd have to then go back in and do some adjustments on that. But it's pretty fast. I mean, we're not doing anything really dramatic here, so it's not a big deal on this particular tiger. Like you can see how I'm just doing kind of a sawtooth edge down there. That just gives it the effect of there being some fur to it. Now you can choose how much of that sawtooth edge you want to do, a whole lot or just a little bit. The less you do, the more cartoony it looks. The more you do, the little more naturalistic it looks. It's up to you. Okay, that's about as far as I'm going to take that sawtooth, and now we can just come up and finish up around the ear up here. And this will go pretty quickly. And then finally we'll just take this back up around. I'll do a little bit in here, not much, and take it back up around to our starting point. Notice how the cursor changes. You can kind of see that it's against a dark part of his fur, but when I get back to the beginning spot, the cursor changes, and that lets me know that I can go ahead and click at that point. It will then make that as a selection. Now I'm going to make a new layer based upon this selection. So layer, new, via copy. There's our new layer right there, so I can hide that layer. So here's our new layer based upon that selection. So at this point we have our basic tiger in place. We're now going to give this tiger posterization effect. We'll be using a filter for that. So I'll go up here to filter and filter gallery. There are quite a few of these. We have the colored pencil, film grain, paint daubs, poster edges. A lot of these things give you different effects that you can use for your cartoony effect. We'll be using this one here, the cutout. Now if I pull it over a bit, we can actually see our image a bit better here. On the right hand side we have levels. Now again, we're using the cutout. If you click on this little arrow there, it'll hide that drop down list. So there's the cutout effect. Now as I adjust the number of levels, here you can see clearly the edge, it's real blocky, and in just a little bit more we get kind of differing effects in here. And I found it's not always the same each time you do this. For whatever reason it comes in and it kind of reinterprets it differently each time. We have an edge fidelity setting, edge simplicity setting in here, make it a little more blocky looking. I kind of like it in there someplace, keeping it pretty blocky. Just trying to find just the right look where we still have a good sense of the tiger's shape, but it's all broken up into real solid areas, and that's pretty close. Now again, notice here that we don't have a good version of the eyes. Our eyes are not rendering well, which I mentioned before. So I'm going to cancel that just for a second. Let's make a copy of this layer, drag it down to a new layer button. So I have my copy. We'll come back to that in just a minute. Let's go back up here to our filters, filter gallery. Oh, didn't want to quite do that. Let's undo that one. Filters, there's the one I wanted, filter gallery. And we want the cutout. I'll just scroll up here. Right there, there's the cutout. And let's find a nice setting. There, that's even better. Notice again how it comes in and gives you a little bit different effect each time you do this. So you're not going to be getting an exactly repeating effect. And I kind of like that. That's that's pretty good. Maybe in here someplace. Have enough of the nose showing. And again, the eyes are all messed up, but it's good for everything else. So I like that effect. I'll choose OK. That's that bit. Let's now hide that one. We'll come down to our bottom layer, and I want to do the same effect here, but a little less, so we get better rendition of those eyes. So filter gallery should bring it back up to the cutout, and it does. Let's bring our edge simplicity down a bit and our number of levels up a little bit until the eyes look good. Kind of hard to see here exactly what's what. Not quite getting what I want over there on that left side. So I think we'll fake that. The right side looks pretty good though. I'm happy with the right side, so we're just going to copy that and paste it over there. And let's just look around a little bit more. I think, okay, that's good. That one's fine. We'll work with that. So choose OK. I'm now going to copy this out. Let's just grab our little marquee tool here, and I'll make a quick selection around the eye. There we go. Make a new layer based on that. Layer new via copy. Bring that above. So there's that eyeball. That looks good. I'm happy with that one. Let's make a copy of this layer. There we go. I'm going to flip this layer now. So edit, transform, and it's just off screen. Flip horizontal. There it is, and I'll just pull that one over to this side. So that gives us our eyes back again. So we can merge these two layers together. Hold the Shift key down, and let's right click over here by the name, merge layers. So our eyes are now on one layer. So there we go. We've fixed that little eye bit. Everything else on the tiger looks good. Eyes look good. We can now put in a couple of highlights on the eyes, a couple of nice bright cartoon highlights. Do those on their own layer just in case. Let's set this to our correct white color. Grab the paintbrush, way too large. Bring that way down. I want real hard on this, and we want fairly small. That's looking about right. And just to make sure, I'm going to zoom in here. That's pretty good. So I just want a circular highlight right there, and kind of the same place over here. There we go. And then zoom back out. So there's our highlights. That looks good. So far so good. Now we can put in, actually hide that one. We can put in our layer effects now on this layer. We want to put a stroke and a drop shadow. So go up to layer, layer styles. We'll start with a stroke. And I'll just leave that as is. Let's adjust the size. I want a pretty good stroke on it, right? Kind of like that. We'll come back and adjust that in a minute. Do a drop shadow, and let's just bring some drop shadow down there. You can see that on that side, just a little bit of a drop shadow. I'll keep that fairly hard. Choose OK. Alright, that's all looking good. Let's now put our background in here. So I'll click on the new layer button. If we go over here to our original, we're doing a gold down to a purple gradient. So I was using there. So let's do the same kind of thing. I'm going to fit on screen. That's better. And we'll do our gradients. Go up to the gradient tool. Look at our gradients. And we'll see what we have in here that's kind of fun. And let's see what else we have that will work. We'll take a look at simple gradients and append those. Nope, nothing in there. There's a lot of gradients to choose from. You click on append, it'll simply put those onto the bottom of the list. There we go. That's what I was looking for. Right there. So that one was in the Color Harmonies 2, I think we did that one. So there's the gradient. And then holding the Shift key down, I'll click above here and just drag straight down to just off screen. And that gives me that gradient filling up the whole layer. We want to have that nice big white border now. We can do that again with our layer style. So layer, layer style, stroke. I want to give it a white stroke. I'll just pull up the upper left hand corner like that. Gives it a white stroke. I want that inside. There it is. And then bring the size up to whatever looks kind of nice, and that gives us that nice clean stroke. There we go. So there's the background and that stroke in there. Now all I have left to do is to adjust the stroke on this layer here. Let me just show you what we've done before. Go over onto this one. Let's bring up our effects. And if we go to our stroke, you can see here that we have kind of a medium color, medium tone color in there. I'm set to fill type color. And then we're doing a blend color dodge on that one. So actually dodging that color. This color is actually grabbed off of the tiger's face. And then the color dodge is what gives us that kind of interesting effect. So that's what we're going to be going for. So bring our effects back up again. Come down to stroke. Fill type is set to color. Click over in here and it brings up the color picker, and you can also then come over and actually choose a color right off of your image. I'll just choose that mid-tone right there. That's fine. And then in here we have all of our blending modes. If I just roll down with my mouse wheel and you watch these blends on the left hand side, you can see you get all kinds of interesting different blends in there. And the stroke looks different based upon which blending mode I'm using. So you have a wide range of differing effects in here based upon these blending modes. So let's go back up and find the one that we want to use, which actually is the color dodge, which is right there. There we go. Choose OK. And there it is. There is the cartoon style tiger. All right, let's now move on to the next half of this discussion and take a look at the girl and how to give that more of a graphic novel painterly effect. So let's close these two down. Let's just get rid of that one and close that down. And bring back up our other one, which was Cartoony Effect 2. There we go. And we're going to be giving it this kind of a look in here, and we're using a posterization effect again on this one, and then changing or doing a little bit of work on the edges to smooth the colors out. So let me bring up the original picture and we'll see how this one is done. And I have that over here someplace recent. There we go. So there's the original, and this is the effect that we're going for. Again, we're going to be using those filters to get us close, and then I have some special tricks on how to smooth that out. So filter, back to our filter gallery, and I'll just zoom out so you can see this. There are all kinds of different effects. This is the cutout effect in here, and that gives you an interesting look, but it's not what I'm looking for that more of a smooth effect. So let's bring these back up again. So we have a colored pencil, cutout, a dry brush, film grain, all kinds of things that can get you in the right direction here depending upon what it is that you are looking for. A lot of these will give you differing qualities of effects. And there's a watercolor. So we'll be doing poster edges on this one, and we can adjust the edge thickness and the edge intensity. So just try to get the exact look that you want on this, how much posterization you want to have happening. Okay, now we're getting someplace. That's closer to what I'm looking for. And that's looking better. There we go, and then let's just Adjust our edge thickness. That's pretty close, but it's going to be needing some touch-up. I'll show you the touch-up on this in just a second. So there's a basic look, and using the poster edges, real low settings actually on this one. Choose OK. There we are. Now, if we zoom in a bit, you'll see we have some problems in here. There's all kinds of this stuff going on and all kinds of texture and things going on that we don't want to have happening. We want to have this as smooth as possible. So here's where my special trick comes in, and that is using the Smudge Tool over here. And if we come in right on a line, I'm going to go for a larger brush. I want it real soft, bit of a larger brush. There we go. And if we put it onto a line here and just kind of rock it just a little bit, just kind of up and down like that, it's going to blur and smear the stuff right in that area and get rid of all those little dots and things. But since we're going back and forth, it's going to be keeping everything else relatively correct on the position. But it's kind of a rocking motion, and you may need to use a little different brush size in different areas. The tighter you are on areas, you'll have to go for a softer brush. And just a little kind of moving back and forth, we're actually smudging things out of position, then putting them back in position again. But by doing that, we are blurring them just a little bit. It's different than using a blur tool, though. It's not quite the same effect. This gives you a bit more of a painted effect. If you use a blur tool, it's just going to end up looking blurry. And we don't want that. We want it to look as if it's painted, and this will keep kind of a painted effect. It's an interesting little thing, and it's just a little push it back and forth, up and then down, up and then down. Just if you have a line, just go with the line. You can really see it there. Just kind of rocking it a little bit and putting it back into place, and that blurs everything out but keeps it in the right area, and that blurriness gives it kind of a painted effect. Again, it's a different quality than you get if you try using one of the blur fillers. Those just kind of soften everything up, and this gives you a bit of a painted effect. If you want to accentuate that, you can just pull your blurring effect right along a line, so smudge, and give it more of a brushed look. You actually can smudge things around. Just be careful with that and don't go too far. We can really see the effect over here. If I come in here and just rock it a little bit, you can see how it blurs it out, but not really blurring. It kind of smears it out. Let me show you the difference. If I go over here and choose the blur tool, and using a similar size brush, pretty good size brush, and come in here and do that with the blur tool, see, it goes softer in focus, but it doesn't move things around. You don't get that painted or brushed look. So that's the Smudge Tool. Again, you kind of rock it like that. You actually get that kind of a painted effect. You can go a lot more if you want to really soften down an edge. And the more you do, the more it's going to blend everything together. But it blends it together almost like finger painting. And that's what gives it that painted effect. Like up in here, you can just come in and just really smear that around in those areas to blend everything together. And then as you get in towards the figure, just stay with the edges and give it just a little bit of a rock on the edges. Not too much, and that will give you that effect. Now you can leave some of this harder if you want to, and then do this for other parts of it, so you can use this selectively soften out part of it and leave part of it a little bit harder. And give you that interesting painted quality. So there we go. I'm not going to take the time here. As you can see, this will take a little while to go in and do the whole figure this way. But you can see what the trick is. It's this little smudge tool, and then just coming in and just kind of rocking it back and forth. You can see it down here, just rocking back and forth, really kind of just smears those things out. If you want to clean a background up again, you can do that. If you want to keep an edge, just do it real subtle, right along the edge, just a little bit. And you'll keep your edge, but you'll gain that painterly effect. So there we go. That's my other technique. Then let me just zoom out on this fit on screen. So that's that other technique. And after you've done this, if you want to bring it back up just a little bit, you can come in and do a sharpening on this. Maybe do a, adjust your brightness contrast a little bit if you want to bring your contrast up a touch, and then possibly come in and use your other filters to make other small slight adjustments to it. You can sharpen up parts if you want to use your sharpening tool here, or use one of your sharpening filters over here. Let's just go in here and do a sharpen edges to bring it back up a little bit. But there it is. That is how you can use this and then get that painterly effect. And again, it's using the poster edges at a fairly low setting. And we can see those settings again if I bring those back up again. Filter gallery, it will still be showing us the same settings. So there we go. See, poster edges, edge thickness I had set at 1, and then intensity and posterization both at 0, giving us just a little bit of that blocky quality, and then coming back in and playing with it a bit to give it more of a painterly look using this smudge tool. Okay, so there we go. There is how to do cartoony effects. Thank you for watching this special Photoshop photography project video. Don't forget to subscribe so that you will get first notice of new project videos in the future. Just click on this link right here where it says subscribe here. You can get all 12 project videos in this series along with 26 special videos demonstrating the tools and techniques that I used in these projects by clicking on this link right down here. And then thank you again for watching this training video.